fun begins.
How's it going?
Hello.
Well,
Greetings, young Jedi.
hello there.
Hey everyone, Hyper2 Reviews here, and really quick before we get into the review, I just want to announce a giveaway. I have this Black Series Tactical Ops Clone Trooper in the Revenge of the Sith 20th anniversary packaging here. Box is a little beat up, I'll admit. This came off the Walmart shelf that way. But I'm giving it away, beautiful opener, to someone once I hit 2,500 subscribers. So subscribe, tell a friend, boost those numbers, and once we hit 2,500 subscribers, I'll put a video up, you guys can comment on it, and then I'll pick a random comment from that. So, giveaway announcement. Everyone go check that out when the time is right. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at what you probably thought you were going to be talking about first, given the title of the video. We have some good, beautiful Carbonites, and we're taking a look at the Phantom crew. Not just the Season 1 Phantom crew. We also got the Season 3 Phantom crew. I'm a big Star Wars Rebels guy. Had to completely cover this when we were getting into it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into a packaging shot and then see what we're getting here. All right. Here are our Phantom Crew packs, and they look amazing. We all know that Vincent, creator of Carbonites, does some amazing packaging shots on these beautiful boxes. They are nice, rectangular, flat boxes. They say the Phantom Crew, label which seasons, seasons 1, season 3. You get a picture of the front of each included Carbonite. Of course, the difference here largely being Kanan and Ezra. We'll talk about the differences as we get into the proper review. If you look at the spines of the box, you see it's kind of like Black Series, where they have colors that align to make a stripe, and everything's numbered. Season 3 actually recently got a renumber. It used to be box number 7. Vincent decided to add a bunch more Rebel sets than he was originally planning on, so he upped that to number 14. Great choice, Vincent. It's a great show. Looking at the side, you can get those pictures of the characters again, name of the set. This side of the box is all white. Carbonites on each end of the box, and around back you get some information just about the creation of the Carbonites and what you can get if you get into the program and how you get loyalty rewards, and there's charity donations and all sorts of good stuff going on. So really cannot praise these enough. They are very, very well made, very, very thoughtfully created, and I'm super excited to talk about even more Carbonites. So let's go ahead and open these sets up, take a look at what we're getting. There is a little bit of an experience to opening a case of Carbonite, so I figured I would open the Season 1 case with you now. Vincent's made a couple little changes to the process lately. So, Carbonites, as I mentioned, come in a very nice opening box, and a little bit snug, but you get it open like so. When you open it, you're going to have this really nice paper, tissue paper liner with a picture of Han and Carbonite in it, and it says, "At Carbonites, we're committed to consistency and collectors like you." Very nice. Now, generally, right here, you would actually have a letter from Vincent thanking you for your purchase. I'm going to confess, I bought the Season 3 set a little bit ago. I helped Vincent make some changes to Carbonites we're going to talk about later on, and he gifted me a couple of sets, this one included. However, something that this letter talks about is your charitable donation, and because he gifted me these, it didn't have a charitable donation on this one. So he wanted me to mention that. However, still a great product, and when you purchase a case of Carbonites, there are several charities listed as you check out. It's $16, free shipping, and $1 of your purchase gets donated to a charity of your choice, so they let you pick while you're checking out. I think that's amazing, giving back to the world. Star Wars collectors, we have the ability. We spend so much money in our collectibles. Let's do something good while we're, doing our thing. So, anyway, note is usually right in here. As you see, lift this up, see all your characters in there. Now, normally, I'm able to just put them, dump them out in my hand, and you see they all moved there. But Vincent pointed out that this actually is designed. You can pull it, and it pulls your characters out and gets them moving for you, which is nice. That is very nice forward thinking, and setting that liner back in there. There is a note talking about the potential allergens, because, very fun pun, you get the mint in the box. Inside of that, you get a Han and Carbonite stickered Lifesavers mint. So, and it warns you, in this case, I need to eat this before March. So I think I'll freshen my breath sometime before March. Thank you very much, Vincent, for the hint about me needing to brush my teeth. But we're going to go ahead and set our Carbonites up and get digging into these sets, because they are some very, very cool sets. If you've been around a minute, you know that I am a ginormous Star Wars Rebels fan, and so I'm just super happy to have these. And I'm always in Vincent's ear about what I'd like to see next. So hopefully he has been listening to me, and hopefully we see a little bit of Rebels love. As I said, he changed the numbering in the season 3 set. There might be ideas. There's definitely gaps that will be plugged someday. But I think we're going to work through these 2 at a time, since you have the 6 same characters, but they're a little bit further along. So you have, we'll look at the same guys at the same time. You have Sassy Helicopter Asteroid Mech and Sassy Helicopter Asteroid Mech Season 3. Excellent name for my most favorite war criminal, and he looks oh so amazing. They are a very, very similar print. However, the Season 3 version actually features a jet effect to imply that Chopper is taking off. That is Chopper in flight. That is really, really cool. Or Sassy Helicopter Asteroid Mech, that is. The Season 3 one is a little bit more aged looking. He's got a little bit more dirt, a little bit more grime. There's a little bit of a glow. He's got a little bit of an orange tint to the bottom half of the body, where it's like, the jet is, giving a fiery glow. And I do really like how that turned out. This is a great way to do something like Chopper 2 different times. And that's a very, very cool, very, very excellent way to go about it. All in all, these feel very nice. They're very solid. And I do like that. They're 1x1x2 blocks on the inside. A little bit later on, we're going to talk a little bit more about the behind the scenes of what's going on inside. But Chopper, excellent. And then representing our favorite pilot in the galaxy, we have Green Twilight Maternal Pilot, and then Season 3. So that's excellent there. Excellent nicknaming for Hera, and she looks excellent. Now, a lot of your Season 1 through Season 3 costume changes in Star Wars Rebels really are all about very minor things. So Hera continues to wear her orange overalls, but she changes the jacket at the top. So there's a lot of similar things going on in the print here. Go around the side, you see the arms get to be a little bit different, different color of the hat. This one's a little more gray. This one's a lighter gray. And so it's just a little bit of very similar things going on here. I have talked to Vincent. I mean, Vincent is a friend at this point. Vincent is the GOAT. And sometimes certain characters like this that are very similar from one to another, they're easy for him to do. He can spend a little bit less time just tweaking them to make them fit a different version, which frees up more time for complete head-to-toe new characters. There's no shame in it. It's like a Hasbro repaint, and repaints keep the dream going. So I'm A-okay with that. So, and there's still new here, so there's nothing to gripe about. So if you have a preference between her earlier or later appearances in the show, you can definitely go there. Again, 1x1x2 blocks inside, very nice and solid feeling. Now we get to a character that's going to be a little bit different. He's gone through some things. This is, of course, our formidable rebel leader, Kanan, or the Blind Samurai. Great naming by Vincent there. And, man, Kanan went on quite an adventure, didn't he, throughout Rebels. Kept his color scheme, a lot of tans and greens and browns. But this is, of course, him in Season 3. He's wearing his J-Guide painted mask. Very, very cool. This version features his goatee. This version, he's got kind of the full beard blending into it. He has his shoulder armor, iconic shoulder armor, and then he's changed that up going into Season 3. And the Jedi ponytail continues. It thrives. It survives. Always love to see it. And then different shirts, of course, as we continue to spin around. Very, very different takes on the character. Nice and just brown hair on top. And very, very nice representations of Kanan. And just a very, very nice, very, very, very well done. I keep seeing very, very nice, but it's just, they are. I mean, I do love my Kanan Carbonites. Setting those down, let's take a quick look at Ezra Bridger, who is probably our main protagonist to Rebels. Let's be fair. I mean, everyone has a story, but a lot of it was around Ezra. And so Ezra is labeled the Street Rat Samurai. Excellent choice. And then, of course, Season 3 in this case. And Ezra's costume changed a lot, too. He got a buzz cut in Season 3, so his hair's not quite as long and shaggy. Darkened up a little bit in Season 3, too. It's still that little bit of blue to it in Season 3. Season 1 and 2's got a bit more blue going on. But very, very recognizable smile. Like that, he got the scar on the cheek. So this is actually more like a Season 1 final 5 minutes Ezra at that point. But, of course, you got to have the scar. It's iconic. And spinning him around, you have his insignia on the back of his jacket there. Looking very, very nice. A lot of similar things between these costumes, but they are different. And just very, very nice representations of Ezra. Up next, we have our favorite artistically gifted Mandalorian, Sabine Wren, or the Artistic Knight, as she's been titled in Season 3. So, Sabine, of course, almost every couple of episodes is changing something on her armor, but her armor kit generally remains the same throughout. She adds sleeves in, Season 3, of course, so you don't quite see the exposed forearms, but Sabine is always repainting her armor and adding different symbols and insignias, and so as you spin around, there's a lot of different coloring, and of course her hair. I mean, Sabine's always doing something different with her hair, so really liking how she looks so far in these. Really digging it. I do like the exposed face. I would have liked to maybe seen an option with helmets on. I'm sure some of those missing numbered cases would be something that Vincent is going to work on somewhere along the way. I think you gotta have a helmeted Sabine. She wears it a lot. But very, very well done take on Sabine. Always love that. And then our big purple buddy, Zeb. Really love Zeb. Great character. Of course, the purple striped combatant, and then S3. And Zeb looks excellent. Now, Zeb, in Rebels, his Season 3 look was basically just removing his shoulder pads and tweaking his chest armor a little bit. Otherwise, very similar stuff going to get these black boxes added to the front of the belt. But you have, his striped, skin, exposed skin on the arms, on the back of the head, and got his beard going on the front. Very nice disgruntled Zeb expression going on here. I do really, really like how he looks here. Just a great way to recreate the character here by Vincent. Great job. I do like how Zeb turned out. So Zeb, all in all, is a pass. So I gotta say, I am like the Rebels fan. I love this show very, very dearly, and Vincent has done it some great justice in these Rebels-inspired Carbonites, and I do like how they turned out. He did great work here. Something that I want to show off, I have a prototype Carbonite. I talked about this in a Toy Hio haul. But Vincent is talking about doing some changes with the Carbonites process. He was having difficulty sourcing the wooden blocks. He was looking at options, and I turned him on to 3D printing. And I 3D printed him some cubes, which then we test wrapped. So I actually have a special Imperial Disguise chopper, which is awesome. And I love that I have a prototype Carbonite in my collection. And one thing with Carbonites, they are wrapped in a sticker, so you might see on this one just a little bit of pink poking through there. My prototype cubes were printed in pink because it's just the spare plastic that I had. But Carbonites are making a move to 3D printed blocks, and that is really, really cool. The nice thing about 3D printing is while wood is easy to source in an ethical way, you don't have to deforest the rainforest to do it. You can just chop down some quickly growing pine trees. The nice thing is just because 3D printing is plastic doesn't mean that it's necessarily wasteful. You get a PLA plastic that's made out of a lot of oils, stuff that would have been wasted otherwise. So, and a lot of your PLAs, they break down pretty quick. So I can't really say that going to plastic's a bad thing. And worth noting is when you hold these side by side, you don't find a difference. They measure up exactly the same size. I cannot gripe about anything like that. They feel very, very similarly weighted. And I should note, my Season 3 set I actually bought from a little while back, and I just hadn't gotten to it. And then the Season 1 set I've recently gotten, so your Season 1 versions of my characters are in the plastic, and these are wood. And so that's, it's interesting. There is a difference under the paper that you would never know had I not told you and had Vincent not made announcements, because I believe I'm putting this up on Sunday, and I believe that he is making some announcement posts. So, there's a little bit of a difference going on underneath. But one thing, Vincent and I have talked about is everyone always says that Carbonites are stackable. And they're blocks. Of course they're stackable, right? However, with the wooden blocks, when you get them pre-cut, sometimes they're not perfect. And so he was always a little bit hesitant to say they're stackable, because what if it's not perfectly flat on the top? Well, 3D printing, they are stackable. You can take your nice plastic ones, and of course you can stack anything if you choose to. They are your Carbonites. But you can stack these as high as you would like them with the guarantee that they're nice and square, and as long as they're nice and stable, nothing will happen. Of course, I'm not the most stable guy, so I might knock them down. But for real, it is just really cool to see a little bit of innovation here. I mean, everything at Carbonites is innovative. Let me take that back. But, you know, Vincent had a problem. We talked about it. We found a solution. And I gotta say, plastic Carbonites are the future. I think they're great. I am very excited to see how things go over with these going forward. I think plastic Carbonites are gonna make for a lot of cool future designs. There's all sorts of stuff. You know, Vincent and I yap a lot. I'm not allowed to say any of it. But, you know, there's all sorts of ideas that are always going through. You know, he's a very creative genius. So, gotta say, I do really love the future of Carbonites here. So, great choice. Before we get to my wrap-up, I do just want to do a little bit of a size comparison here, just to give you an idea about Carbonites. Again, they're 1 inch by 1 inch by 2 inch blocks, but seeing is believing. So here is a 6-inch Black Series Stormtrooper, and as you see, 3 Carbonites high roughly equals 1 6-inch figure, because 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. And here in the middle, we're going to put a Lego Snowtrooper minifigure, that's roughly standard minifigure height, and then a Funko Pop Ahsoka, just to give you an idea. They're a little bigger, a little bulkier than a minifigure, but compared to other common collectibles, they are nice and small. Something about that is, man, if you want to get a little representation of all your favorite characters, and you're the type of Star Wars fan like me, therefore you love all of it, and you want to have a lot of characters, they would make for a nice little office display, something fun to scatter around your collection room. You know, you can get one case, spread the characters all over, or go nuts and buy all the cases, which I think is something that we would all suggest you do. So, honestly, just gotta say, really, really have been loving these Carbonites. I'm excited to get more, and the future of Carbonites is bright. Any thoughts on Carbonites, Ood? He won't get off the table, so Ood gets to hang out for my final thoughts. But what are my final thoughts on the 2 cases of the Phantom crew that we have so far in Carbonites from Seasons 1 and Season 3? I think Vincent has done excellent, excellent work. Good job on every one of these characters. They're all very recognizable as who they're supposed to be. The character nicknames are fun. I love it. And just the designs are super well done. I love everything about these, and I highly recommend all of the available Star Wars Rebels cases to anyone who's a fan of the show, who's interested in Carbonites, who wants to support an excellent, you know, like local artist, and, you know, just let's keep the Carbonites dream alive. There's so many cool things that this line has yet to make, and I'm so excited to see what's going on. As I said, the future of Carbonites, very, very bright, and yeah, I'm excited. So, that's it for now. Thank you all for watching. It means a lot that you did. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that end of video stuff. You know the drill. I'm going to go work on something else now. So until next time, may the Force be with each and every one of you. Make sure to give your kitty cat a pet, and I'll see you next time. Bye.